Welcome to Great Talk and Entertainment. I'm your host, KJ, and this is the podcast where we review movies and TV shows from all your favorite superheroes, including Marvel Comics and DC Comics and much more. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Great Talk and Entertainment official channel. Let's go, baby! Now, as we continue on from the new HBO Max series, The Last of Us, this is a episode 3 review, and yes, it is a spoiler. So if you have not seen this show yet, please pause it. But before you leave, give me a thumbs up to help this channel grow, to have new audience, new subscribers, and so forth. Then watch this show, and then come back and check out my review. Again, this is a spoiler, so you have been warned. So, here we go. This is definitely a tear-jerking moment episode showing us how the world is now, and some people like Bill and Frank try to normalize the situation going on in this world. The show starts off with Ellie and Joel on foot heading 19 miles west of Boston in the year 2023. Joel is taking Ellie to Bill and Frank that has an incredible story that is amazing. This show takes us back in the past, about September 30th, 2003, we learned that not everyone got to go to that safe zone where Joel and Ellie were originally at in episode 1, and not everyone got to go there, and if there was no room, the military would have to eliminate you. Ellie and Joel also see that while they're walking past in the woods or on a dirt road where they see skeletons, even like from adults to children and babies. We get introduced to Bill, who is played by Nick Offerman, and Bill is a survivorist who stayed behind and took over the neighborhood that he was in and hid way deep below in like a basement or like a storm shelter type thing, where he turned it into like a fort, well, basically made it / his place, and he had so many firearms and traps to make sure that people can't get in, like raiders or people who are mutated by the fungus as well. Also, he invaded many abandoned stores, from like a supermarket to like a super mega market like a Costco or a Sam's Club, something like that, where you can get things in bulk, right? He took over many boutiques. He had all the food. He was growing all on his own by himself. But then we meet a character named Frank, who is played by Murray Bartlett. I hope I said that name correct. There's a love and a relationship that is incredible in showing us in this show versus the harsh reality of what's going on. And they had only so much of supplies and a lack of others. And in the year 2013, it seems they were doing business with Tess and Joel helping each other out. Bill and Frank's relationship, it was going good. 10 years later, in the year 2023, we learned that Frank was in a wheelchair because he was very sick. And not just that, he had a huge disease, of a cancerous disease that maybe in today, that it seems like they didn't have a cure then. And just the idea of the lack of medication that they couldn't get, because in this world, the fungus has took over. It's like the post-apocalypse. And with this show, was still so very dark and gritty, even though they didn't show a lot of the people who had the fungus. Well, they showed one. Well, two, actually. The first one was when Ellie and Joel went to this, like, abandoned, like, maybe gas station or a quickie mart type thing, or a small shop that would be in a type of neighborhood, in your local neighborhood, right? And, you know, Joel hid his big gun, his like machine gun and other things, while Ellie, you know, found some women product, let's just say it like that. But when she was down there, she saw somebody with a bunch of rocks piled up, and this person was affected by the fungus, full blooded, and she stabbed him. But I think that moment was really interesting too, because that was her saying, okay, I'm not afraid of them. Well, she's gonna tell, and this is what she's telling herself in her own mind. And that was without actually saying it, and no, they didn't have her narrate that. But you see where first she was scared, and that this person couldn't get to her anyway, because again there was so much rocks and falling things that it squished its whole body basically. But it was still alive and still making the hissing sound and all that. But it just shows you the dark and grittiness without even saying nothing. But when she stabbed him with her little pocket knife, it represented the idea of her saying, okay, she's on the process of, saying that she's going to be a survivor. She's taking this more serious. She knows it's not a game. This is more like her inner child spirit kind of going away, and she's maturing in this world of a post-apocalypse, because there's no easy way out of this, and there's only one way to survive this, and that's what Joel and Tess has been showing her from the first 2 episodes. Also, the second one was when the person who was infected with the fungus was just walking around and caught into one of Bill's booby traps, and you seen how he reacted. It was a lot different from Ellie's, obviously, because she's a child and he's a grown adult. But the idea of it was he built like this big, not a force field of a shield, but enough to protect him, and he was all alone. And at the end, you see that when Bill and Frank, just try to live regular lives, and you find out that they took their own lives away. And let's just put it as that, because I know this is a sensitive topic to a lot of people, but it just showed you the reality of, like, if they stayed any longer, well, Frank, let's just say Frank, because this was more Frank. If Frank tried to live through this, he would have just suffered a lot more and a painful death. So crushing those pills. But when Bill took his own life away as well, because in this world he was convinced that there's no hope, because we see that the government of the United States or all over the world, they have no idea if there's any plan. All they knew is they were going to bomb everything, and only a few people in each world over the world, right, was going to survive this. And there was no hope for this. So a decision like this was the best way for them, because again, they isolated themselves because of the danger that was going on, and they could not trust anybody. So it was a very tear-jerking story for that part. And then when you get up to, and this is the year 2023 when Bill and Frank took their own lives away, and when Joel and Ellie finally get there, Joel was very heartbroken too, because Ellie is like the third chance in a way, because Joel lost his daughter Sarah. He felt like he failed to protect her. Tess was his second failure of somebody he cared about and failed to protect her. And now Ellie is his third chance, and he realized that. And this is his third chance, and it's kind of like third time's the charm scenario. But now you see their relationship growing, their bonding. Joel's more caring. He's more showing more of a a little bit of a sensitive side, but he's still very strict. He's still very, laying down the ground rules. Like, basically, it's his way. He's the boss, and Ellie needs to listen to him. That's the only way she's gonna survive, because he knows that she doesn't have the skills and like survival skills like Tess, Joel, Bill, and even Frank too. Because even though she stole one of the guns, she does not understand like the actual danger or reality of what's going on of this. Because, and this just again, this shows the dark and grittiness of like how human society has to be in that world. And again, it was such a great story, very tear jerking. Like with Bill and Frank, it was sad, and watching that, ooh, it was hard to watch. It was very difficult to watch because again, those two love stories was just an example of like how everybody else is doing. Like there's how some people are living. Like, yeah, there's some people like Joel and Ellie and Tess who are out looking for the cure. There's just some people who are just living, trying to normalize this life and trying to live. But you have raiders going around, and the raiders represent like people just being very savage, very, very out there, just trying to take and steal because they have nowhere to go. They're trying to find the next spot, but then they don't stay there. They just temporarily stay there, and then they move on. And that's what raiders represent. So very good show. So again, with Bill and Frank's, it was great. They were living together, and they just show how the world is dark and gritty. Joel, again, this is his third chance, so I think in episode 4, it looks like he's going to be more action-packed, so I definitely see him going to be more protective for Ellie, and not in the way of, like, she's just somebody he has to deliver to get for a trade for some car batteries, or other supplies like that. I think in episode 4 now, I think we're moving forward, I think that you're going to see him be more father figure, more heroic like for her. And obviously there's going to be another new discovery of what's going on and what's really going on, because again, Bill and Frank was just one small part of what's going on, how some people are trying to live through this or survive. But now we're going to see another type of way of people surviving, people hurting other people just to get by. So it's definitely going to get there. Again, the character development on this is really good. And I talked to some people who I personally know who have played this game of The Last of Us. And obviously the Bill and Frank story is a lot different from the video game. But as far as like the car, I forget the year of the car, but I know it was a Chevy, but pretty close to it, they said, to the game. And what I've seen from videos, like comparison videos through TikTok and Instagram and other social medias. But I see that's really cool. I'm glad that that's how it's going. But so far, it was really a great episode. The performance with these guys were amazing. Like, this is really good. This is straight up acting. Like, telling a story, guiding your emotions. This is giving you an idea, like, this is much, much bigger, and there's a lot more going on. So, definitely, I'm giving this episode 1 out of 10. I'm definitely giving this a 10. This was such a great episode. The cinema photography was great. I really like the idea. Here's one part I really always remember about this episode was of them planting strawberries. And they were kind of crying, tears of joy in a way. Because, again, they had a lot of supplies, but they lacked a lot of other resource. So can you imagine just growing strawberries and then having that first taste? So they haven't had strawberries for a while, and so this meant a lot for them. and you see that. I like the letter to Bill, from Bill to Joel. That was really nice, and it just sounded like how Bill would write it, and that's probably the nicest thing that he said about Joel, and Joel really took that very personal, and I think it woke him up and changed him. You see the change within this character, so I definitely like this show. I can't wait. So that's my review. It was really good. Again, it was really good, and it had everything in this. So thank you for listening to my review. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talking Entertainment official channel. Subscribe, hit that notification. You can always be updated with my latest content. Thank you, and peace.